Greetings, everyone. Hello, how are you? My name is Phil Rice. This is Thread to Threshold, and this is just me chilling out with you guys tonight on this 21st August 2020. Forgive me, I've been on a computer for a large part of today, and I could have gone much further. And yeah, it's yeah, it's a little taxing, but that's all good. It's lovely to see us all. Thank you so much. There's no one in. I don't know. Is there? No, it's a 0 at the moment. Might just hang out for a bit, see if anyone shows up. No. Okay. Oh, hang on. Shit. Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. Oh, one person in there. Hello, how are you? My brother Gino, how are you, mate? Still kind of getting set up, to be fair. What am I doing here? How are you? What's happening out there, guys? Are you fellas all good? Yeah. It's really fun to be here. It's really fun to be here. I'm just going to make sure I can monitor this. Awesome. There we go. Choice. Yeah. What am I doing here? This one here. Turn that down. Okay. Make sure everything's off and over there. Yeah. I guess I'll just keep talking because I know some people will probably be watching this as a replay. So, hello, brother. Oh, you're having a feed. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I had something yummy tonight. I got some snacks for later too. Looking forward to that. Yeah, you'll have to forgive me, people who are watching. I've been on a computer, like I said earlier on, for a large part of the day and pretty shattered. But I wanted to come on tonight and talk about some stuff because there's some things that need to be discussed, and it'll be fun to catch up and just have a see who else is checking in, who wants to just hang out and talk about some things. So yeah, oh look, we've got another person in there. Hello there, thanks for joining in. We'll get started soon. If you guys are sitting there and just sort of want to just hang out for a little bit while we wait for maybe a couple more people to sort of rock in, but I will get started shortly. But if you would like something to do, you're most welcome to just to get real comfy and relax and chill, man. Yeah. Right. Let's see. That's all good. Yeah. So I got some things I'm going to share tonight. Oh, it's been a full-on couple of days for me. Actually, it's been really good with the show, the Thread to Threshold show. I've had some wonderful guests, returning guests, just wonderful. Going deeper and deeper into the conversations. This one today with Steve, and then yesterday with Brian, and then I've got another interview with Doc Ram tomorrow morning, which I've got to actually advertise while I'm thinking about it. This is my weekend at the moment. I seem to be spending a lot of time on the computer. I'm just learning how to sort of maximize my time when I'm doing the little jobs in the background. And yeah, so anyone who out there who's running a podcast or who is doing something similar, yep, you know what I'm talking about. There is some stuff that needs to be done, but it's not that much actually. I don't do a lot of video editing stuff. So let's see. Yeah. So, one thing I wanted to definitely get into tonight, guys, and forgive me, like I said, I'm pretty tired, but I wanted to talk about how we can increase the potency of the sort of the mystical aspect of our life, you know. And that's not to separate it as, say, a component so much as it is a, oh, that's better. It's not so much of a component of our life or a module of our life. It's sort of the underlying framework. Well, it's the underlying thing, you know, like it's, you know, it's not like, you know, you wear a, you know, you've got a soul and you wear it around your neck or something, or you have a soul that's like an accoutrement. It's a, you know, it's, yeah, I think you know where I'm going with this. But the idea is that, you know, I think, you know, for so long we've all been fooled to think that we don't have these aspects, this aspect, these many things that are one and many, you know, and so these have become entrenched in our fields, or our, you know, they become belief systems that we carry and adopt, and they're unconscious, you know. And so by sort of, you know, learning through sort of training methodologies, you know, that the ancients talked about, that, you know, they're still practiced today, you know, we can you know, literally upgrade ourselves in many ways, and they're very complementary to each other, these sort of these I'm not sure what to call them. We could call them I like the mystical walk. I heard Steve Seven mention that once, and I like that. I mean, you know, there's the journey in that, but the mystical walk is like, you know, for those of you, including myself, who are truly on a mystical journey, you know, where you're embodying it more and more every day, and it's the greatest thing you've ever found, and it's added such wonder and meaning into your life, and you know, you've been courageous and working through, you know, those things that you know, you might hold you back, because to be your authentic self. Because, you know, these things don't let us go for the most part. You know, we can ignore them and go, oh, I'm not going to do that. You know, I'm not ready for that. And then it keeps the knocking on the tapping on the shoulder gets louder and louder and louder. And when we start really stepping into it, it's like, wow, the fruits are beautiful. Yeah, I'm just making sure I've got that. All right. But yeah, this idea of the mystical walk as a kind of, I'm just going to kick back in the chair a little bit here. I've actually got a footstool here, but I can't quite get to it. So can you guys hear me okay? Gino, can you just let me know, is my volume all good? Anyone let me know? Just let me know. Give me a thumbs up if the volume's good. You know, so anyway, back to this concept. Well, this lifestyle of the mystical walk, you know, bringing more into our lives and I'm going to just do a couple of things while I'm talking to you guys, okay? So that's cool. This thing of just adding more beauty and meaning into our lives by, you know, becoming more aware of what's going on. There's a connection that can be seen between situations and events. It really can be, you know, and it's there with the eye, it's there for those with the eyes to see it, you know. And I know it's a hotly disputed topic because, you know, well, you know, maybe most things are. Oh, thank you, Gino. Cheers for that, mate. Good. Glad the audio is good. I thought I was going to sneeze for a moment there. Where was I going with this? Oh, crikey. The idea that we're on the walk, and oh yes, you know, how much of the life, you know, well, not, you know, if you know, how much do your thoughts affect the physical world and things like that? Well, you know, I think there's fields at play that interact with each other. I think there's so much going on, like, and you know, I just almost feel the heaviness now, even thinking about attempting to talk about it. But you know, what I'd like to talk about is, you know, how I have maximized, you know, mystical encounters and experience in my own life through the practices that I've experimented with, and share these with people, and because they're very empowering. They're very empowering. They fuel the engine. And it's different for everyone, okay? It's, you know, when you're having, you know, man, I don't, you know, to give you specifics as to like almost like try and describe a painting, and it's like nothing like I could describe, you know. So yeah, you know, how can we, and how can this mystical walk of ours be, you know, honored by bringing the best of it into the physical world so that we can sort of, work towards making a better world. This idea of, using altered states of consciousness, if we want to use a technical term, or having mystical experience, reaching up the tree, this might be one way of saying it, reaching up back towards divinity, to the higher self, to the Godhead, to the Creator, to the intelligence, to the whatever. And bringing, having experience, talking, downloading, getting a telepathic conceptual idea, not just a bunch of words, but an understanding. Because when you've got an understanding, you can attempt to describe it. When you're learning about something and taking in knowledge, you might be able to recite names and places and place names, names and places and place names, numbers and locations and sizes and facts and so on. But, to have that real deep understanding that you get from, after spending time with knowledge and letting it percolate, this world that we can create. And how those of us who are, who are on this path of seeking truth, wisdom, just even those two, truth and wisdom, freedom, maintaining freedom. Freedom is a responsibility. Now that's a cool topic. There's an old South Park song from the movie Team America. It's pretty funny. It's called "Freedom Isn't Free. No, there's a hefty fucking fee." I didn't swear then. I just got to swear. No, there's a hefty fucking fee. And it takes folks like you and me. Something like that. Freedom isn't free. Should be. Should just be standard. Should be standard operating procedure. And I think, when you ask people what freedom is, they're all going to have a slightly different understanding of it. So how does this come back to the mystical walk? And how we can use we can establish amongst ourselves, within ourselves, a new craft devoted to a greater reality and the exploration of a greater reality for more than simple, ooh wee, look at that, isn't that cool? I mean, that's great too. And that can certainly add a lot of punch to it, when you are able to work with these experiences, that's a bit further down the track. So, this nourishing experience, waking up after having a full-on, vivid, hyper real, ultra realistic lucid dream, out of body experience. Bringing information back with you. And you're a practical, skeptical kind of person, perhaps, or maybe you're just beyond that, but you're still that. It's good to have that, I reckon. Good to maintain that. But you still allow yourself to get lost in play. And when you work your imagination, develop your imagination. Is it not the greatest gift of, that we've got as, one of the more intelligent species on the planet? Some might argue that. And just to assume that humans, it's just, the main bipeds on the planet are humans. It's like, yeah. How does the mystical walk help us in our daily lives as we we stand upon the mountaintop, looking out across the vista, the landscape, and we see the work that needs to be done, and we go, wow, that's a lot, man. We know what we need to do. We really know what we need to do, and it requires an effort of willpower. And I think that when we have a connection to something that we perceive, and I state this very clearly, something that we perceive as a greater than ourselves, there's something else going on, something else is helping us, something else might be hindering us. We have this improved faculty X, as Colin Wilson would call it. I like that, faculty X. That's cool, eh? We have this capability that is a muscle or several muscles, or, we can speculate on that, but, how can we play with it and explore and discover and find uses for it? And I think, I say that a bit, and I think, treat it like your life, like your whole life. How do you approach the various things in your life? And are you, seeking to enhance those aspects of your life with the tantalizing goodies of the mystical walk? Recognizing that stuff ain't always going to be unicorns and butterflies. And so with this strengthened sense of self that we've developed through having direct personal experiences. Hello, there's somebody else has joined us. Welcome. Thank you. We deepen this and it becomes, an inseparable part. We can see these other sort of angles, and we can have a greater understanding of what people who have commented, written books about, spoken of in regards to these topics over the long period of time. Everyone's having these unique experiences, but there are common sort of overlapping aspects of them. But when you wake up in the morning after having a really convincing, dream or out-of-body experience, and you're able to tell the difference, and you know that there's lots of different types of dreams and potentially quite a few different types of out-of-body experiences, they can give you a bit of a pep in your step. When you're thinking about a mate, it's like, you saw a picture on your phone, you thought about a mate, and then that mate rings you, like just like that. You saw a picture on your phone of something and it reminded you of a friend, and that friend rings you. Was it the picture? Was it the timing of it? What was that? What was that all about? And these are fun toys, aren't they? We can play around with them. How can we really get our mystical stride going? Our mystical wiggle. Wiggle it. Our mystical waltz, our mystical, whatever we want to term, our fantastic, awesome, amazing interaction with reality. I like mythic living. Mythic living's a cool concept where we see archetypal journeys being played out in our lives. We have multiples of these cycles playing out, like the hero's journey, like the fool's journey, which we can talk about with the tarot. And we can use that. And there's lots of ways, because the cool thing is about constructing your mystical walk and allowing it. It's construction and allowance. It kind of builds itself, but it's a participatory thing. There is a passive way of experiencing it, but you can. I kind of get the feeling that if the universe is holding its hand out and it's on the dance floor and it's like, come on, man, it's good up here, and you're kind of leaning on the wall, going, well, you can kind of still get some action, I guess. But if you get up there and it's like it wants to dance, it's like, okay, let's explore. This is, this takes personal development, though. For most of us, who've been doing this kind of work, we know that it's character building stuff, especially to be honest about it and straight up about it. I mean, even me doing this podcast or this live stream here and talking about these topics, I wouldn't have done this a few years back. Although I thought I might have been able to. I didn't really. I thought I had the balls, but these are different times. And are these different times? So how can we use our mystical walk to, to help us find the clarity, to find the questions that lead us to the selection of possible outcomes and options that are on our most preferred list, our preferred outcomes. And so you know, right from the start, I was led to, hands-on healing work. And even before I really got sort of hardcore into the dream work, but I was recording my dreams, I think, a little bit back then. But when I did my Reiki, when I started doing that and the journey that led me on, I have to say, from the other teachings I've explored as well, it's really great, guys, to have a bedrock or a foundation or a fundamental that you start with that joins you with the earth. Okay. It's really important to be grounded. Okay. So I guess what I'm attempting to impress upon you is that, setting patterns for times when you move in and out of the sacred. What do you mean? Patterns. Okay. What is a pattern? A pattern is something that we identify as being maybe something that's repeating or something that we recognize. That's what the Mensa books are about. It's about identifying patterns. Patterns generally have a pattern that we might refer to as an experience that we have. How do we demark it? How do we put parameters around it? How do we sort of containerize it? So that we can objectively observe it. Well, we can give it a start and a finish time, or a switch to move us in and out, like a portal sort of a thing. A beginning and an end. When we start it, that's when we start it. When we end it, that's when we end it. And with Reiki, it's very simple. I mean, there's lots of ways you can do this. If you study various mystery traditions, you can do all sorts of things. You can make a circle, do certain prayers. Excuse me, I'm just going to sneeze. Excuse me. There's many ways. I'm going to pull a card out. What card am I going to pull out? Let's just pull a card out so I can have something to sort of bounce off while I'm speaking to you guys about the mystical walk. The mystical walk is the real funky cool stuff, guys. Really, because we are here, having a pretty wild experience at this time on the planet. There's been plenty of wild times on this planet, and we've sort of it feels like the tide's coming in. It's a big tide. Let's pick a card. Look at that. That's a good one, isn't it? Look at that. That's the Six of Wands, baby. That's the victory card. Man, check that out. Good geometry. Good geometry. Six of Wands. So if you're rocking a tarot deck at home, go grab it. Go pull out the Six of Wands, guys. I'll just leave this right here. That's pretty cool. Six of Wands. Victory. I'm talking about us being in tumultuous times. And then the victory card kind of pops out. That's a good buzz, eh? But is it a good victory? Hopefully it's our victory. Victory over what? Over ourselves? Hang on, wait a minute. The mystical walk. Grounding ourselves, making sure that we have a good connection to the earth. We are building the temple worthy of spirit to indwell. Not that spirit is ever not with us, but spirit, as many traditions would state, spent a lot of time building this very dense reality that we call the third dimensional domain, the space-time, realm, the kingdom, the realm of matter, of denseness. A lot of work went into this, and, we're here to have that experience, to be creators in this realm. How can our mystical walk help us here? Well, by practicing grounding, just putting our feet on the ground outside. But, let's make it cool in that. I mean, you can sit there, right? I'm going to sit out there in my shorts and just put my feet on the ground. There's actually nothing wrong with that. I do that sometimes, just when I want to sit down and just enjoy bare feet on the grass. If you've done any martial arts training, you'll know how to do certain stances. And if you don't, just go learn how to listen to someone talk about teaching how to do a basic stance. Just look at a bunch of YouTube videos. You'll figure it out. It's not that hard. Of course, it's better to have a teacher, but learn how to do a stance. Learn how to hold a stance for a reasonably long period of time and be as relaxed as you can. Do it outside on the grass with your feet. Okay, but maybe I'll make a video where I'll do this outside and I'll teach you guys how to do it. You know, you might already have your own one, but basically you pull the energy up through your legs, up to your head, or out through your arms, up to the tips of your fingers, and so on. And then the Mother Earth is pulling that stuff that you don't want. She happily takes it to recycle it, and you grow a relationship as being, thing. But how do you set the pattern? Well, in Reiki, we use this. This is called gasho. And what this does is it brings us our left and our right hands together, and it forms the even line down the middle of us. Our hara, our tanden, or as in Chinese, our dantien. In Japanese, it's usually called the hara. This is our energy center just below, they say it's about 3 fingers below your belly button. It's on the ridge of your tummy there, just like on the crest of it. Well, that might be different for many people, but that's where your dantien is, and it sits inside and around. It's metaphysical, okay? And this is what we want to develop if we choose to use this particular model. There's many models to choose from. You can choose chakras. You can choose, oh man, look, far out. There's the meridian systems. There's the naddas. There's the, they're all very, even chakras like that can go on and on and on and on. What I like about the Japanese system is that they start with the hara, and then they move to the upper hara. Okay, and it starts off, like I said before I get ahead of myself, starts with building up the center. Okay, your dantien. I'll bring my tummy up so you can see me. There's my belly button there. So it's this area right here. I'm going to see if you can do something here. See if you can do something here. Hang on. I'm just doing something too. Just need to do something real quick. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in, guys. I'm still kind of getting my head around, a couple of things, even though I've been doing this for a while. But it's really cool. I've got 3 people hanging out. We're about half an hour in. I'm talking all sorts of stuff. Hopefully you're getting some interesting information out of it. Look, we got the 6 of wands when we're talking about the state of the world, y'all. Man, that's some good vibes, man. That's good. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share this on Facebook because I think that's where a lot of the people are. And I should have shared it earlier. Let's try this again. Cool, baby. That's it. Yo, choice. All right, here we go. So yes, how can we use our mystical walk? Well, we can use the idea of energy centers to help anchor us into the various concepts of reality. And so, hello, well, somebody else has joined us. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So we establish a system that we're going to use, that we're going to work with, and we try it out. We give it a good go. How long do you do it for? Well, I think anything's worth doing for at least, say, set yourself maybe 3 moon cycles or 3 months, however you want to do it, 3 moons. We'll talk about lunar living in a bit. It's one of my favorite topics. Lunar living is really cool. That way you can really get your mystical rocking with that. So, where was I going with this? So, yes. So anyway, you establish a system that you use. And the great thing about the Japanese hara system is it's very simple. And it's a great place to start to build up the basic framework. Just think about if you're building a car or a building, you start with the very foundational things before you make them more complicated, before you start breaking them up and splitting them up. And so we start with our connection to the earth. So we get outside, we're standing outside on the grass there. Hello, Gino. Yes, okay, yes, I'm going to talk about the 6 of Wands in a moment. We're standing out on the grass. We've got our hands like this. We're closing our eyes. We've got our arms away from our body. And we're moving our attention down to just below our belly button. And what you can do is you can rub that part just below, underneath your belly button, rub it. And you can feel that space. And you want to feel that down there. And you might be going, that's bizarre. How do I do that? Okay, I'm going to give you a little exercise to do. Maybe you've done this. Take your finger. Take your other finger. So you've got 2 fingers. You take one and you stroke this finger like this, and you observe the sensation that it's creating on this finger that's being rubbed, this one that's being stroked. You go, okay, like that. Right, you do that enough, you do it a few times, maybe for 30 seconds, something like that. Just do it a bit so you feel it. Okay, and then take your finger off, and then feel that feeling again without doing it. That exercise there, just that one alone with the finger, man, that can take you places, okay? I'll just leave it at that. If you get good at that, try it out on different body parts. You want to practice moving your awareness around different parts of your body. I will say that again very clearly. One thing that will aid you greatly is learning how to shift your awareness to different parts of your body. You see, you spend a lot of time in your head area. And that is where a lot of people, I think if you ask them, you would say, what's the locus of control? And a lot of people, or the location of the control of the most, the area that's most predominant in the activity, as in like, where are you having the experience from in your body? You're almost feeling like, this body's holding up your head, it's actually, it's a whole thing. But generally speaking, our attention, we're feeling it, our nose, lips, eyes, we've got sensitive things on our face. So, and our ears, of course, and around our neck, we're, quite sensitive to the skin around here as well. So we generally have our locus up here. It's when we can move that. So I'm going to put it from where it was. Like let's say you stub your toe, right? And then, somebody else comes along and goes, I can fix that. And they stomp on your other foot. I mean, your attention goes from one side to the other. To be able to control the tactile sensations that you have in your body, to be able to experience them on demand, what you want to feel, and when you don't want to feel, when you want to shut down your sensory inputs. How do we use our mystical walk to improve our lives and the lives of others and work on this? Well, earth ourselves. 6 of Wands. Oh, yeah. So the 6 of Wands. So we're talking the fire element here. We're talking about changes happened. 6 comes after the 5. 5's the number of change. Well, I say it is anyway. This is my magic. So 5 is the number of change. And so we've got a 6 here. We're talking about the craziness that most of us have never experienced like this before. This is a global thing that's going on here. Global. We're all having a very shared experience in the sense that we all seem to be affected by this scenario. Yeah. And I'm talking about it and I'm saying, we're in tumultuous times, and we get this card. What can this card tell us? The 6. The change has happened. We've moved from the 5. We're now in the realms of geometry that is strong. 6 being the sides of the hexagon, also the shape and beehives, and the shapes that the bees make when they're making their honeycombs and such. They're hexagonal. The shape here, it's a strong shape, a strong geometrical shape. Victory is, not always easily taken, but it must be the purpose. There's nothing less than victory to aim for. And that doesn't mean we're walking all over other people. Victory should be, our highest, it should include our highest moral aspirations, always. But this is a card of fire. This is the triumph, the triumphant, victorious, it's almost like a majestic sort of a win, the 5, like if we looked at the 5 of, I'll see if I can find it. It's not as pictorial as it is actually. Let's actually, you know what? I'm gonna bust out my Rider-Waite deck as well. I think if a lot of you guys are new to tarot, then here we go. Look at that. It was the second card in. This is the Six of Wands in the Rider-Waite deck. So the other deck I'm using is called the Thoth deck. You can see that they're slightly different there. They're both Six of Wands. One's in Roman numerals, whatever. Okay. But this one here, this one here is really cool because the Rider-Waite deck uses sort of images and pictorials of a scenes being played out. And so we can see there's someone up there on a horse, and there's people on the ground, and they're wearing the laurel wreath, and they've got the one on their wand. Okay. This is about victory. This is about success. This is about the celebration of a known achievement. Do you get the feeling that there is change occurring on this planet? There's certainly some very, very intense changes that are happening via, government that's being most publicized. What about that line that's getting pushed towards us all? We're getting tested on where we will say no and where we will stand by. Some things we might be open to compromising, but then there's a line, there's a point where it's like, wait, ooh, oh no, you don't. When you're pushed hard up against the wall, man, then there is no other option except victory. Free from, whatever it is that might be rolling our way, because I tell you, it's looking a bit hooky cookie spooky out there. If we listen to the news. I'll pull another card. I'll pull it out of the Rider-Waite deck this time. Maybe we'll spend some time with this deck first. I'll get to the Thoth deck in a little while, eh? We'll save that for we'll save that one for dessert. Hey, so does anyone want me to read a card for them or something? If you want a reading, just drop it in there and I'll give you a reading. Why not? But yeah, back to this conversation of the mystical walk. Building ourselves a good spiritual, etheric skeleton to mount these. And I'm using very practical physical terms, using this, building this framework so that we can start hanging organs on it. Organs. When you build a car, you get the chassis ready first, because the chassis is what the parts are mounted on. So you work on the underside of the car, your connection to the physical, in a sense, your connection with the concept of structure, earth. So you're standing there like this on the grass in a stance, squatted down a little bit. You got the knees bent, relaxed. You got your back. You're nice and straight with your spine. Get your head tipped back. You're going to need to go do the homework on this if you haven't learned about this yourself, guys. You should go and learn how to do a martial arts stance, like there's like horse riding stance, sumo stance. There's a general stance where you basically your feet are about hips or your shoulders width apart, and your feet are either parallel with each other or they're just relaxed sitting out, and you just bounce down and just look it up. It's good to know one of those and spend some time in it. Let's pull another card. So now we're going to talk about, we've talked about the earthing aspect of ourselves, and we're feeling ourselves connect to the earth, and we're locating our awareness down to our belly button. This is all the stuff that I teach guys with my Reiki. All right. So my Reiki is probably a little different maybe to a general conception of what other people have, because I've studied other things like Qigong, Tai Chi. I'm not necessarily a practitioner of all these things, but I'm certainly not a practitioner of these things. I like to explore lots of different things. I like to tap in. I want to know about this energy that we all have access to that we can use. What's another card? Let's talk about energy now. So once you've built up the physical vessel and you've got your relationship to the earth and built up this Dantien, this Tanden, this Hara, and learn to locate your awareness there and feel that. And there's a whole bunch of info that goes along with the Japanese understanding of Hara. And I have to say that learning more about Japan, I studied Japanese at school. I worked for a Japanese company, Hitachi. Well, it was Cable Price, owned by Hitachi. I've been in many things and many places that have had a Japanese influence in my life, and I found myself being, Japanese culture is lovely. What I've explored, I haven't been there. I just about had the chance to go there as a college kid on a student exchange, but it didn't happen. I was pretty gutted, but so be it. Maybe I'll get there one day. But this this understanding that can only really be gained by learning about their culture and their history, because it's quite a different understanding. And yeah, so anyway, we've built our hara. We're building our hara or our dantien, doing the work, and we're connecting to the earth. When that vessel is full, when it is ready, the energy will rise up a channel in our spine and create another energy center. This area here, all around our head. And that is the heaven key. So we have the earth key and the heaven key. So let's talk about the heaven key and pull a card on it. So anyone, how about now? What's your ritual when you're playing with your cards? Do you have a thing? I like to just get lost in a thought. And then what I do is I take the cards and I just start grabbing a chunk and putting them behind, and then putting like this, grab a chunk like this, and then spread them out too, and just do like this. And then eventually they'll stop because I'll hit. And then I'll go, okay, because I was thinking about something else rather than focusing on it. I found that to be a really good one. I might teach that. Let's have a look. So we're talking about heaven key. Isn't that interesting cards? That is the 5 of Cups. Disappointment is another name for it. We can see a chap there. Oops. That's the side, isn't it? We can see a chap there wearing a black coat, looking a little sad. He's looking down at the ground. The cups have spilt. There's 3 spilt over. There's 2 behind him still standing. It looks like he's in mourning for these cups. There's red liquid coming from 1 or 2 of them, actually. And then there's green liquid coming from another. There is a bridge and a river in the background, indicating emotion. This is a grey day. This is a day of mourning. This is a day of learning, of growing. The grey representing in one aspect wisdom, maturity, experience, a veteran. The green liquid, what could that mean? How could the red liquid, green and red, a 5? This is about change. So what happens when you build your connection to the earth, and then you build more and more this vessel? And this is all a metaphor. The energy rises up, moves into your headspace. You will experience change. You will experience change, and you will experience the letting go of habits and behaviors that don't serve you no more. Well, if they do, some things have died hard with me. It took me a while to get off eating sugary things, but I got my butt kicked too much from sugary things. In fact, most types of sugar. The green one for some people could be anything like cannabis. There is, there's much speculation about how certain plant substances can hinder and help your spiritual development. It's not a straightforward conversation. These are tools. In a lot of cases, they're all tools. And sometimes the tools can become vices. There you go. How's that? Is that a pun? I don't know. Tools can become vices. Vices can become tools. We don't want masters. No masters. Things like coffee and, sugar and energy drinks and stuff like that. This is about letting go. This could be about, this is a card about emotions. The cups. the suit of water. We're letting things go. We're letting our emotional attachment to things go. It's time to move on. We're now connecting with something greater. So what happens after we've moved through that period? Let's pull another card on that. So we were on the 5, the 5, the 5, the 5. And now we're wanting to see what comes next. What happens after the change? Another 5. Oh man, I could tell you guys a story about the number 5 in my life. Gee whiz. Oh yeah. It's a cool number. I love number 5. So this is the 5 of Pentacles. And as you can see, these two, they're not looking so good. They're on the outside of a stained glass window building, possibly a church or otherwise, or a merchant or somewhere that's probably warm and comfy. And they're outside in the snow. He's got a bung leg and he's got a bell around his neck and he don't look too pretty. And I think they're even barefoot. So another name for this card is worry, poverty, not having all that you need, going through the humility of downsizing your life, becoming minimalist. Doesn't necessarily mean you're not enjoying it. You're dealing with it. I mean, look at these two. Where are they going at that time of the night? I mean, come on. But they're still going. They're supporting each other. It's easier with two, eh? Sometimes you got to spend these times by yourself and get to know yourself and be okay with spending time with yourself. I've been doing that heaps and heaps and heaps. Takes me to new places to explore. It's interesting. Okay, so let's keep pulling some cards out on this topic because we're getting these change cards. So we've had 2 5s. We've had a 5 of Cups, a change in emotional state. We've had a 5 of Pentacle, which is a change in our relationship to the physical world, our relationship with material items, learning to live without, but not thinking too much about it, not worrying about it. This is the lesson. The card doesn't necessarily say this or that. It's presenting a concept of like, maybe letting go of things in the physical realm, like physical items, and selling off all your junk and your things. You've got all these memories and sentimental value and stuff. Getting rid of those things can basically just end certain connections and relationships with things that you've got. When you see them, you're looking at all these things that mean so much, and it's hard to to focus yourself. Perhaps unconsciously, this might be something just a few people experience, but by minimizing, selling your stuff off, going, you know what, do I really need this? Living metaphorically, you get rid of something in your physical life, you get rid of you're moving on, however you want to frame it, put it in the positive, you're replacing or making space for whatever, or just, one less thing to worry about. Let it go to somebody else who needs it. But you're doing something in the real world and something metaphorically. My guest tomorrow, Dr. Richard Allen Miller's got a great story where he says when he got the pin put in his arm, the metal pin, he also got a metal plate welded on the door of his Datsun 280Z Fair Lady that he's got. He's got a 280Z, pretty awesome, a green one, yeah. Actually, I'll see if I can bust out some photos of that because it's pretty awesome. But that whole idea of like bringing more of the worlds together. So I'll keep talking about this. So we're talking about the connection to Heaven Key. Well, Phil, what can Heaven Key do to me? It's going to change you because you're going to feel a connection to something that was always there. But when you're working on these energy centers, guys, one thing you're doing is that you're fine-tuning your sensitivity to subtle energies. And there's lots of different frequencies of subtle energies and ways to feel energy. And it's good to start now. Don't leave it till later. Get it going now. And I'll show you guys a really good one. And if you're not doing this already, you want to start doing it, and you want to do it a little bit every day. And definitely do this one here where you touch your finger and do that. Like, that's a really good one. I'm giving you guys nothing but the best stuff here. This is the top shelf shit, man. That's how we roll. But it's the truth, man. We ain't got no time to in 10 months I'll show you the next one. No, no, no. Here's the real basics. This is called tactile imaging. Okay? You want to be able to do that. You want to be able to do on that finger and just move between them. But just start with one, then do it with your arm. Do it with the big, easy, clumsy places first, and then start feeling them. And maybe in another thing, once you're comfortable and competent with just doing, these very basic things, then we take it to the next level. If I give you guys all the toys now, you got to play with some of these toys in order. Okay, sorry. Because it's way more awesome if you get it right. Like, I didn't do it right, but that's okay. I kind of did it right, but I can see how it is better to teach it, because you want... Oh, hello, Julia. Julia would like a reading. Please read one for Julia. Her request. Okay. Well, Julia, thank you so much for making a request. And this is the card that popped out for Julia. Can you guess what it is? Dun, 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 dun. That one. The Queen of Pentacles. A dark-haired lady sitting on a throne. She's got a bronze disc, a brass disc in her hand, carved with a pentagram, a five-cornered star, five-pointed star. She's surrounded by life, by earth. And if you look down here, bring it right up close. You look really close, you can see a bunny rabbit down the bottom. Right? The bunny rabbit, the Queen of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles. So I don't know what Julia's question was, but that doesn't matter. I'm just going to tell her. So Julia, whatever you're thinking about right now for this card, if anyone else in the chat would like a card, please just throw it up in the comment there. You don't have to tell me what it's about. I mean, you can if you want, and I can freestyle on it, but Julia, Queen of Pentacles. Okay. So let's bust out the Queen of Pentacles in the Thoth deck as well. So if you've got the Queen of Pentacles there, guys, bust it out, and I'll do a run on that. So the Queen of Pentacles, also known as the Queen of Discs, the Queen of Coins, the Queen, of course, being the counterpart to the masculine, the feminine to the masculine, the Queen and the King, depending on which deck you use, because in some decks it's the Queen and the Knight that play the two sort of forces. Here we go, Queen of Discs. Okay, check this out. So this is a pretty wild looking one. So here you have her. She looks lovely, sitting on the chair there. And here's the Lady Frida Harris, Aleister Crowley one with the big horns. Looks pretty wild, doesn't it? It's like, wait a minute, hang on. Okay. Julia, Queen of Pentacles. This is the feminine, receptive, passive energy of the element of earth, of structures, of material resources, of income. It represents the house, the home, the hearth, the hearth. This might be seen, if we talked about it as an income, we have a king and a queen. The king is the active, the penetrating, the ever-moving, seeking force. He spends the money. That's the yin and the yang, the male and the female, the masculine and the feminine. This one here is about the receiving of money. And so for myself, when I see this card, I use this card. Sometimes I put it down and I use it to say, like, you know what, I want to think about income. And I'll pick a card, and it'll probably be this one, because this one represents the the coin, the income, or the money, and it coming in. Whereas if it was the king, the money would be going out. So let's keep going on this. So the Queen of Pentacles, the masculine King of Pentacles, the feminine Queen of Pentacles with the bunny rabbit. The bunny rabbit represents fertility. You know how the old saying goes, like rabbits. So what could that do with anything going on in your life? Pull another card, eh? Let's have a look at let's just have a quick look at the Frida Harris card. So you can see there, dun, 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 dun. See the ram? You can see the shape of her horns, the crystal on her staff, those shapes, the greens, the browns. You can see the river in the background there, the trees. So when we're talking about this particular deck, it's a little different. So this is part of tarot education, guys. So you're getting all the best from me, okay? Seriously, I'm just happy to give it. I love talking about this stuff. If I was going to write a book with all the best bits in it, I wouldn't say you have to read the book. I'll just tell you. Okay, so check this out. In the Rider-Waite deck, which is the really famous one, which is this one here, I'll have to picture that guy on the front of it. He's pretty well known. There are cards that are numbered from the ace, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then page, knight, queen, king. It was a very paternal sort of system back then when that deck got made. That's why there's the queen, then the king. It's just how it is, how it was. The page and the knight became the jack in our playing decks, Jack, Queen, King. Okay. But in the Thoth deck, in the Aleister Crowley / Lady Frida Harris deck, it didn't go page, it doesn't go page, knight, queen, king, where the page represents the sort of the juvenile, the untamed force, the curiosity. The soldier is another name for it. The knight is more like a continuum of the intensity of an adolescent force that's maybe a little bit more unstable, or it's prone to extremes more, and so you have a continuum, and that's where the knight can be useful as a metaphor. And the Thoth deck, and the Crowley deck, and the Lady Frida Harris deck, this deck here, it goes ace, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then it goes princess, prince, queen, knight. There's no king. And the understanding is that the page has been replaced by the princess, the king has been replaced by the prince, and the king has been replaced, the king has been replaced by the prince. Oh, then the knight has been replaced by the prince, but the king has been replaced by the knight. Now, that actually gets more confusing than that, because it actually goes princess, prince, queen, knight. Now, I'll just leave it at that, but what I want to say is this. Oh, Carolyn, are you watching? Oh, maybe she's about to log in. Oh, that'll be lovely. Sorry, anyway, where I was going with this is, I'll just have another quick glass of water. Okay. Oh, that's better. All right, sorry, I'm starting to drift off a bit there. I'm going to be around for a little bit, guys, because I just want to do some talk. I want to do some of my own talking. So if you're bored and just want to hang out and chill, that's awesome. Put some music on, spark one up, whatever. I don't care. Just chill and hang with me. It's cool. But yeah, I'd love to hear from you. So anyway, the Queen of Pentacles. So what we have is like I said, in the Crowley deck, the Lady Frida Harris deck, you have princess, prince, queen, and knight. And each one of those also represents an element. And so you have the four main elements being the earth, air, fire, and water, being, pentacles, being swords, being wands and cups, okay? And so you have all these elements representing them. You have the sub elements represented in the 4 court cards. So the Jack, the Jack, Queen, King, or the Prince, Page, Princess, Queen, King format. These are called the court cards. They are the 4 cards at the end of the 10 of the tarot. And in the Thoth deck, the Princess refers to earth. The Prince refers to air. The Queen refers to water. That's a pretty universal symbol, that one. That's the interesting one. Okay, guys? Water. Okay? So I want you to think about water. Queen of Pentacles. It's not a water sign, Pentacles. It's an earth sign, but let me finish. So the page represents the princess's earth, the prince's air. Those are the 2 elements. I wish I had my... Where's my drawing board? Oh, there's a thing that I wrote the other day that I've been enjoying looking at. We can do better, can't we? I was going to use the other side. So what I want you to know is, if you don't know this already, maybe you do, I'm going to draw these elements on here. Okay, and so what we have is we have a triangle like this. Sorry, it still doesn't look very good. Triangle like that. That is the masculine, or the fire element. This here is the feminine, or the water element. This is the blade. This is the chalice, or the cup. This could also be a phallus, and this could also be represented by the genitalia of the females, so to speak. The shapes, the things that we associate it with. Right. That's fire and water. And then what you have is that you have air and earth. Okay. And so that is the prince, and that is the princess. When you get to the queen, she is the water, and the knight is the fire. Okay, so you have these sub-elements. So when we're looking at the Queen of Pentacles, Julia, sorry, I do go off. I go on tangents and stuff, but I like to just bring all the knowledge in together, right? When we get to the Queen of Pentacles, the queen is the watery part of earth, of Pentacles. It's Queen of Pentacles, or water of earth. Just replace the word queen with the word water, and pentacles with the word earth. The watery part of earth. Water. Things grow in water. Water is needed for life. This is about creating fertile situation for, it's not your job to put the things in the soil, so to speak. It's more like, you're tending to the soil and making sure the soil's nourished and got everything that it needs. And then all it needs, you've got the water in the soil, then all you need are the seeds, so to speak. So the watery part of earth, or if we changed it to, instead of using the element symbols, we could say, what about the water is the emotions. Earth is the senses, the 5 senses. So this would be emotions driving the senses. Okay? So that's another way of looking at it. The emotions driving the senses. So rather than just looking at it as being the receiving, and then the masculine being the giving, or this is the emotional part, the part that absorbs. Water retains memory. Okay, so yeah, I mean, you didn't tell me what the question was, but I'm just elaborating without even knowing, using anything that I may already know, and just to share on that. So that particular card there, if I was going to intuit a reading from that, I would say something along the lines of, it's good to be prepared. It's good to have what you need. It's good to have comfort. It's good to have, it's good to have that moving as well. It's good to have, a relationship with, it's okay to have a relationship with material objects in your life. Now, you might be like, well, what does that mean? Okay, you know what? You just try it out with a stone, with a rock, with a crystal. The emotions driving the senses, the watery part of earth. There you go. So hopefully, Julia, that offered you something there. If anyone would like to ask a specific question, feel free. Otherwise, if you'd just like me to pick a card and elaborate on it. But yeah, I mean, that's my intuition with that one, Julia, is that, it's good to be prepared. It's good to have what you need, and and have the ability to be, to obtain what you need. And bridging that, it's funny because we're talking about bridging the emotions and the material realm, and that's what advertisers do really well, because they're going to use all sorts of imagery and things to give you an emotional nudge, to get you to make a purchasing decision. How can you use this symbol to improve your life? What a great thing. Let's just wrap on this for a little bit longer. Let's have another quick drink. Okay. I think I might have to do one of these standing up. I feel like I'm starting to just... Anyway. Really? Oh, that's interesting. And there we go. So Julia was literally tending to soil today. Look at that. Yeah, well, that's definitely to do with the soil. And we've got water coming down right now. The earth is receiving water, But that's it. Even spending time with your fingers in the soil, man. What a great way to connect with the planet. Man, I go down to the beach and I just put my hands in the water. I take my shoes off. Just go and just stand in there and just connect with the water. Say hi. Hey, man. But Phil, we're all connected. Yes, yeah, okay. But it's fun to be apart from things and have a chance to miss them. What model of the world do you choose? Man, we had a blast these last couple of days with Brian and Steve, and man, I'm having some really classy conversations, guys. I hope you're enjoying these podcasts I'm doing with these guests that are coming on, because, hey, I'm going to be straight up, and I'm going to probably make a point of saying this. I don't necessarily agree with everything that every one of my guests says. That includes all of them. But that's okay, because that's just where my current understanding and experience is at. That's it. It's not a big deal. I learn stuff from all over the place. And, talking with people on a podcast like this reminds me of just going to an open mic night back in the day and just getting up with random people and jamming, Okay. So one last thing on this Queen of Pentacles card. She's literally caring for this disc. She's got it cradled in her arms. It's all good. It's looked after. It's all polished and clean and that. It's about care and putting care into what we do. And that's another part of the mystical walk. It's not. What isn't the mystical walk, really? I mean, come on, let's be fair. You get to a point where you start getting involved in things. I mean, mucking around with tarot cards is all good. You can have experiences with them. I'm pretty sure I could teach people how to have mystical experiences with tarot cards. And you wouldn't even need the cards. It's really, but it's way more fun when you figure it out yourself. Okay, so here's my protocol for accessing older states of consciousness without using any particular substances to get this particular kind of outcome. Yeah, cool. It sounds kind of cool. Sounds very military-like. Okay, you can access magical powers by doing this, and this in this order. I've done all that sort of stuff. I really like discovering my own magic. I haven't really spent a lot of time playing around with things like telekinesis. But dreams, wow, man. You start playing around with dreams, man, you can't deny this. Man, I don't know how you can stay an atheist once you really got into dream work, man. You got problems or stuck in your life. You want to become your own therapist. You don't want to tell no one. You're going on this mystical walk alone. You're going to go up into the cave like the hermit, go wandering the desert and live in the cave at the same time, and go out there on the walk, go on walkabout. Man, your dreams are your best friend, man. You don't need to carry them around. They're part of you, you know. And you don't have to write them down every day. Sometimes it's good to have a break, to be fair. I did it for years, and then I stopped, and then I started doing it for periods of time. But, you know, I needed to get other parts of my life sorted out because I was spending so much time with the dreams. It actually became kind of tyrannical, actually. I could spend just about a full half day, sometimes 3/4 of a day, sitting down, really writing out, you know, because I could write, man, I would sit there, I'd write them out what I recalled, and my recall, because working on your dream recall is really key. You've got to remember them. You're stretching a muscle. You get them down, and then you spend lots of time analyzing them and going over them. And this became a bit over the top, but anyway. Queen of Pentacles. Have a think about that. Queen of Pentacles. That's a cool card. I've been trying to earn money for years. I bust that one out, and it gives me ideas. If anything, if there was a card, I'm going to pull a card now. If there was a card that would illustrate my hurdles in my life. So I'm going to make this about me. I'm just going to indulge for a moment. Let's make it this card. Oh, that's so funny. Man, I have had literally so much problems with money. I've been really good at earning money and spending money, but I've never been good at like saving or investing or that. I'm just such a, well, I was actually, I must say, you know, this is prior to having my awakening, I guess. I was running this huge guitar teaching business. I had so many students, and it just became so big, and there was so much going on, and yeah. But there's more to it than that. But that's pretty awesome. This deck knows. All right, let's bust out the Thoth deck again. Okay, so I'm just going to pull a card out, and I'm going to make it for someone in the audience, and you might know if it's you or maybe it's not you. It's for all of you. It's for me too. Let's make this one about this. Oh, it's another court card. Okay, a great chance to extend your recently educated sort of cognitive muscles. The Princess of Swords. What element is the princess, and what element are swords? Princess, prince, not, queen and knight. Princess being earth, swords being air. This is the representation of the earthy part of air. Okay, so that might be the structure that air forms. Remember, the pentacles are to do with our physical reality and our day-to-day, what we might call the you know, it's buildings, it's systems, it's money, it's possessions, it's material items, it's you know, cycles that we work to in an extent as well. You know, it's the very grounded way of living. It's the tactile, the touch-based, you know, the obviousness, the rational, and yet, you know, it's also fertile and potential. Okay, this is the earth, and you know, it's the womb of creation in a sense too, much like water is as well. But then, of course, this is the earthy part of air. Earth being the senses, air being the intellect. This is the senses driving the intellect. So this might be a person. These core cards can sometimes represent a person. This could be like a personality archetype, in the sense that this is, say, a, you know, that she's a princess. She's the earthy part of air. Okay. So air, if we think about air as an element, it's penetrating. It can get places that other things can't. It's very unique. It's very hard to pin it down. It moves fast. It can be hot. It can be cold. It's invisible for the most part. Invisible to us, and yet you can feel it. It's funny that, isn't it? It's something that's invisible that you can feel. And we're talking about energy and how you can build the heaven key, the key to heaven, which we're here to bring down into the body and link and turn ourselves into that guy. He's the link between heaven and earth. One hand up, one finger pointing down. Okay, seekers, the Princess of Swords. This could represent someone who is, what are we saying here? It's the senses driving the intellect. I guess you could compare this to anything. Maybe it's someone who likes some physical system-based pursuit, and that's what they seek out. They're interested in learning about what is already. This is an academic. The intellect is an academic. It's a mental. It's a muscle, and it's a brain. It's the mind and how the mind is formed. It's how the mind works. And so this is the potential, being the earth, the potential, the fertile opportunity that exists within air. So I can carry on talking. I'm trying my best to, I guess, elucidate, paint a picture. But what I have to say, guys, is the ultimate way to connect with your tarot deck, okay, if you don't have one, is to pick one of these cards that I'm pulling out that means a lot, that you're finding meaning with. This was the Princess of Swords. The other one was the Queen of Pentacles. Six of Wands before that. Pull those cards out. Pull the picture out. Get a picture of them online. Okay. Right, now I want to. I'm just gonna have a break from that because I'm starting to get a bit tired on it. But I just wanted to say something else too. There's only 2 people watching, and that's fine. Oh, hang on. I'm just going to quickly check my messages, guys. I've got some peeps. Some peeps. Oh, yep, sweet as. Cool. Just keeping track of things. How you guys doing out there? You all right? Friday night, y'all. Yeah, that's it. I wasn't too sure what to do and how this was going to work out, so I thought I'd just jump on and do some talking. I've done a whole bunch of talking with Steve this morning, and that was pretty highbrow stuff. But, with the stuff we're talking about, we are seeking ways of expressing the importance of, self-driven, autonomous seeking. Because this road that we wish to take that leads us towards our greatest desires and outcomes of a beautiful, wonderful, amazing, garden that we can have. We can have the garden, guys. We can have the ultimate paradise on this planet. And we realize when we look out across we're standing on top of the mountain, looking out across the vista, and we see the journey to Mordor to drop the ring. Probably not quite as bad as that, actually, but it can seem quite overwhelming. And it's at those times, my friends, when it's good to have other friends and have support and to keep in touch with them regularly. When you're looking out across that vista going, man, I love this planet and the potential of the human race. Oh, excuse me. How do I turn this around? How can I help turn this around? I think most people know how we want this planet to be, or even just our country or our neighborhood. Start with your own backyard. Get your house in order. That's the one. There's a reading that you can be done called the Celtic Cross. I think it's even bigger than that one. I think it's another one. Might be an expanded Kabbalistic cross or a Celtic. I know it's a Celtic cross, I think. It's been a while since I've worked on those templates of tarot readings, but basically there's a position where you put a card where it talks about, oh, Burika, hey, what's happening? Ceylon, brother. Hey, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. All right. That's so cool. I was just talking about, oh man, I tell you, I've forgotten again. Oh dear. It's okay. We're talking about the mystical walk, and we're talking about the job we have of sharing information. We want to wake our brothers and sisters up, and we want to do it in a way that is effective, potent, and this guy, check it out, man. What's up, y'all? What's up? So cool, man. We've got to do this, guys. We kind of, it's important for us to do stuff because we're here to take action. This idea that we can, meditate our way towards freedom and is just it's a have, man. People are counting on that kind of mentality. Don't get me wrong. Meditation's really important. However you do it, it's a very broad term, meditation. It incorporates a lot of things. But we look out across that vista and we go, oh. Anyone out there a student of Mark Passio, Michael Tessarian, Larkin Rose, Derek Brose, Jeremy Corbett, Max Egan, shout out. Here we are. Things are looking a bit wonky out there. And I have to say, I don't know who's listening in from New Zealand. And it shouldn't matter anyway. Now that we've had some time to experience the effects of, we've had some time up our sleeve to, experience this lockdown and this COVID and the rest of it. Do you feel in your heart that the current situation that is being created, the event that we are participating in, called the lockdown, do you feel in your heart that it is a highly disproportionate response, especially now that we know this virus doesn't really appear to be that big of a problem? Yes, it kills people, and that's not cool. But there's other things out there that kill more people that we don't ascribe such, insane, intense tactics. Given that we did scramble in the first time round just to check how tight the ship was, make sure we got our house in order. Have we got candles and water and food and whatever else you might need, matches and so on? If the supply chains drop and, the supermarket's empty out. But I think it'd be fair to say, and I'm just going to come out and say it, I'm in two minds because I also hear a conversation, and it seems to be pretty well backed up, that there will be a second wave, not this quasi wave that we're experiencing here in Auckland. And I can't speak about the wave around the planet, but the government, the media, all the language kind of leans itself towards the idea of a second wave. It's kind of like it'd be very surprising if we didn't have it. And I've had a couple of I've got a couple of people who I talk to that have surprised me in the past with information they have shared that wasn't available at the time, and I wasn't able to find it anywhere. And it was like, how could you know that? And then a couple of months later, exactly what they said happened, and it had been going on for a while, but it hadn't been made public. And so I'm when this person tells me certain things, I go, okay. Now, I'm not saying that this information is legitimate. You're all adults, aren't you? Yes, you are. You're wearing your big girl pants and your big boy pants, because we're having an adult conversation here, and we're just talking about stuff. That's all we're doing. I'm just going to turn this candle off because, I'll leave it going. Actually, let's leave it going. So we've got these big boy pants and big girl pants on, and we're looking at the state of the situation, and we're going, wow, people are losing their jobs. That sucks. And in some ways, it's probably not bad, because some of those people, it's probably a good idea they moved on from their job. They've been there 25 years. They're stagnant. They need a bit of a jostle in their lives. Let's be fair. Not for me to decide, but if you know them, whatever, then this virus is a highly weaponized, algorithmically programmed one to wipe out people to control population. Well, now, Don. Yes, that's kind of where I'm heading, in a sense. So what we have is, without even getting into the hardcore end, what Don has brought forward there, we can have conversations with our brothers and sisters that I think can run along the lines of, don't you reckon it's time we end this lockdown? Or, this lockdown's bullshit, right? Or, man, have they ended this fucking lockdown yet? Nope. I don't see headlines filled with people dying. I don't see the it just seems bizarre to me that 4 people get discovered who have got the virus or been tested positive with it, and then the whole place goes on super lockdown, and nobody's dying. And if they are, they tend to be older people. And I don't want to take anything away. Look, if you know someone, because I've heard stories about people who have lost other people to this virus. I'm not saying the virus isn't real. If I was going to put in a conspiracy speculation, I would say that it didn't quite work as well as they had hoped it would. Or they played their hand and something didn't work out quite as well. But just the fact that in this moment, the governments are united in a sense, for the most part, and the people, have they ever been so divided? Some things are true enough. Look for patterns, people. So you're out on the lawn, you're standing in a stance, you're on the grass, bare feet, you're nice and you're wet wearing your trackies and your hoodie, got your hands like this. You're locating your awareness down under your belly button. You're connecting to the earth. It's moving up, going into your head center, and you are becoming more in line with yourself. That's quite a vague generality sort of way to put it, isn't it? It's not the best. How do we take ourselves to the next level? This has been part of my personal goal, was when I started discovering all these really interesting metaphysical topics. I was like, wow, there's people out there that are killing themselves because they haven't, they've just gone, some of them have gone, is this all there is? Is this it? Many of us, maybe if you're watching this, have also been through something that's humbled you. So much going on right now. Where do we start? I think first of all, we can practice our courage. All you warriors out there, got to practice your courage, eh? There's lots of different ways of practicing courage. Courage to speak out about things, courage to confront, or courage to manage being confronted, courage to do the right thing. Courage, 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 courage. Let's pull a card. Let's do this one. Boom. It's not the strength card, but it's the one before it. It's the Chariot. Okay. That's the 7 in the major arcana. It's a sign of Cancer. I'm just trying to recall what the Hebrew letter is. The Chariot. It's funny because it's also the card on the back of the box of the Thoth deck. So let's talk about some numbers right now. The mystical walk, the lockdown, numbers, 7. 7's a spiritual number. The Chariot is the initiating force. The card that follows it is the Strength card, the sustaining force. So the Chariot is the card we see here. He's got all the forces there. He's got the sphinxes there of the different zodiac signs, the 4 cardinal zodiac points, so to speak, represented by Earth, Air, Fire, and Water. Leo, Capricorn. Leo, Scorpio, Taurus, and Aquarius. And he's got the bowl in the middle there with the blood of sacrifice, the sacrifice of doing what is necessary to initiate and going, you know what? This needs to get going. I need to do this. I need to do something. This is me tonight, guys, doing this random live stream and just putting the voice out there to whoever wants to listen, right? I'm trying to find a way to bridge courage to learn, be alive, and survive. That's it, man. You got it, brother. Right on. But this is it, man. We've got to find ways to stretch this courage muscle. And I'm going to share a technique that I've discovered that's really cool, if you see it that way. This card here is a 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 5 being the change. 6, clarity. 6, the royal chemical wedding. Ooh, there's a topic that we can expand on greatly. The 7 being the uplifted, the exalted. It's the exalted from the 6. The 6 being victorious, but this is the gold, the gems, the pearls of wisdom that we take after we've ventured on from the celebration of the 6, or the interaction and the clarity of the 6. I've got to find a way to make this so I'm not putting the shadow on my face here. Okay. What beautiful. These cards are so beautiful. I love this deck so much. I've got big cards too, like I've got the Big Daddy large size ones. I was pretty lucky I got them on special. Look at that. I want to bring it up closer so you can really see it there. See the crab on his head representing Cancer. The initiating force. This is what we need to access, everybody. We want to get out there and we want to speak to people about important things. And we want to say, you know what, I've got a right to say something. This is really important. especially if we're, balanced people, however we decide to sort of, set those parameters, there's some things that need to be said. And I think you will agree that we are all feeling a need to express something, because as we watch the censorship that's going on across social media platforms, content sharing platforms, and some of the sort of the monopolization techniques that certain software builders, the major software creators and maintainers, the Apples and the Windows, as we watch this, the book burning, the shadow banning, everything that Facebook's doing, man, like, you know what? Screw Facebook anyway. Like, seriously. But lots of people are on Facebook, so you can get the message out. But do you feel like it's going anywhere? I don't know. Look, hey, we've got to find out the way that works. And sometimes you just got to get creative with it. Like, I'm just pressing the go live button and getting on here and talking. I don't even know. Hey, I see some couple more people in the room. Hello, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. We're having a very wide and varied conversation here. And so we're talking everything from tarot to the mystical walk, to your Reiki practice, to, I don't know, now, and we're talking about COVID and the lockdown. End the lockdown. What if it turns out that we actually all need to catch this thing, and most of us are going to survive? And we need to actually catch it. And so by using these mitigation protocols, we're actually just delaying the inevitable. In fact, we're probably making it worse, because people need to get it through the system. I've looked, I've gone into it. There's so much information, but the statistics that don't kind of add up most, considering the heavy-handed response, the pushing through of laws for, I'm sorry, how many people have died? Like, it's crazy, guys. I mean, I'm just talking about my experience here in New Zealand, but I'm looking around the world going, something's being played out here. I feel like I'm part of some orchestrated event. I really, truly feel that. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that this is something that's I mean, if you look back at the event 201, if you haven't seen event 201, I'm going to put it in the, I'm going to go to banners, and I'm going to go create a banner. Have you explored, have you researched, that's a better word, isn't it? Searched event 201. Bang. Because when you go and see that, and then you see what's happening now, man, this board was getting set up, and it has been getting set up for a long time. These fellas that are pulling these strings, and I'm just going to speak straight now. I'm not going to dolly this up anymore, guys. Look, this is just crazy, man. You look around the planet, you look at all the stories from history, you look at all of the questionable activities that have gone on and the names of various causes. You look at who finances these things. I'm trying to, I don't know how to interact with people on all of these topics. So I'm, part of what I'm doing here with this podcast is I'm just putting myself out there and saying, hey, look, guys, if you're concerned, you're not alone. There's so much information out there that points to the reality that's not what everyone wants. And that is a reality of a control system that's manipulating the masses of humanity. And I think they want to do a big culling. That's it. They want to do a big culling. Culling. Oh, yeah. I just want to put this up there too while I'm here. I'm trying to do this a bit more because, it's helpful. So if you like my podcast and you want to make a donation, you can do it via PayPal there, guys. If you like what I'm doing here, all the information that I share, the way that I present it, my style, I'm upgrading my gear as I can. Okay. I'm putting more and more content out. If you want to send me an email, threadtothreshold@gmail.com, say, Phil, I love your work. I love what you're up to. Or just thanks, man. Support and encouragement appreciated. If you would like to, what am I going to say? Make a donation. I've got options for that. I've got a bank account that you can use if you're in New Zealand. I think you can use it if you're overseas, but there's the PayPal there anyway. There we go. Oh, yeah, and I just want to say too, guys, I'm broadening my horizons as well. I'm offering tarot readings, dreamwork consultations, whatever you need. I'm a accredited Reiki teacher as well. You can get hold of me at threadtothreshold@gmail.com. I'm going to set up a bit of a website. I'm going to improve on this. This is very loose and organic, and I appreciate you guys for just hanging out with me. And I hope you're having a good time out there, kicking back and relaxing. So anyway, I don't know. What would you guys like to talk about some more? You want to talk about it's time to end this fucking lockdown, or we end it and then this wave comes through designed to knock out the people who aren't wearing masks or something like that, to go, we told you so. I have a feeling there's something being set up that's going to evolve into an I told you so to justify the actions. These people are smart. They know how to play games. They know how to work with the psyche, and they know how to manipulate it. Let's pick a card on this. Let's pick a card. Let's do it from the other deck. Let's pick a card on these players. Let's pick a card. Let's pick some cards on the adversary. In battles, generals would sometimes put a portrait of their adversary in the command tents so that they could, Here we go. Card jumped out. The adversary. A card to elaborate on the adversary. It was more when I was talking about the portrait, though. That's when this card jumped out. Knowing your enemy. Knowing the adversary. Enemy can be, maybe not the best word, but adversary. Because we have our adversary within us. "201 is a global pandemic exercise. I got the sense that this was heavily funded by Big Pharma with their blood money." I tell you what, man, when you're rolling with these cats, man, I think they've got unlimited stacks of money. But you're right, it was probably funded with Big Pharma blood money. These companies are so rich. All the countries are in debt. To whom? Steve pointed this out today on the interview. The art of war. Exactly, brother. It's the art of war. The money comes in from various sources. Here's the card. We're talking about knowing the adversary. Man, this is the best card, guys. For those of you on the mystical walk right now, I'm sure you'll be able to identify with this card. Okay. It's a pretty famous card, this one. This is on the Led Zeppelin album. This is the Stairway to Heaven image. He's facing the other way, though, I believe. The Hermit. Old man, wisdom, and a grey cloak, shrouded in wisdom, simple life. He's got a staff. He's got his lantern with the Merkaba or the star tetrahedron inside. He's on the snow. He's up top. I'll find the version in the Thoth deck as well. So, knowing the adversary. How does the Hermit help us with this? Why would we want to know the adversary? Because we need to know how to prepare ourselves, guys. These motherfuckers, they employ all sorts of stuff, techniques, and they will throw their own under the bus to get their outcomes, okay? You got to understand, this is unscrupulous behavior that goes on. Like, this is man, look at that Epstein stuff, man. I mean, that's just the Netflix version of that Epstein show was just, it was just nuts, man. Like it wasn't, they didn't even talk about the island, about the temple on it. It's just too, would it just be too much for most people, you know, to learn about that side of things? But anyway, here we go. This is the hermit. How can the hermit help us? Bit of geometry on there. Cerberus, the three-headed dog who guards Hades, the underworld. The egg with the serpent wrapped around it, representing new life, new knowledge, new understanding. The cosmic egg, the cosmic womb. The tadpole, the semen tadpole. He's also got and this one, it looks like he's got more of an octahedron than a star tetrahedron. The different angles of the light. How does this card help us understand the enemy so we know how to get prepared? This is a card about turning off the damn noise, guys. Get your head into the space of being able to super absorb information. I think the knowledge process of the trivium. There are ways that you can improve your capacity for taking in knowledge. Things like speed reading, audio books, things of this nature. But essentially, and Mark Passio, for those who follow Mark Passio's work, we'll talk about this. In fact, many speakers talk about the apophatic method, via negativa, retroduction, neti. These are terms that refer to not completely identical terms, but they do refer to how to manage information, how to work with information. And one of those things is to basically, the starting point is to get rid of the dross, get rid of that which you do not need, which is obvious to you, to clear your mind, the horizon of your mind, of the clutter that's getting in the way of you, absorbing the information. Also, spending time in quietude and learning how to, stretch that muscle, that peace muscle, and so that it's easier for you to get into that space faster. In fact, you don't need to sit there. I mean, if it takes you 20 minutes, a goal might be to work on getting 15 or 10 or 5 minutes, being able to move from that space, like I said, into the sacred, the pattern, beginning the pattern. You start doing the pattern, get out on the lawn, do the thing, put your hands down by your sides and just stand there and just enjoy the feeling of the earth, and then go, okay, I've had enough, and then put your hands together and end it. And so what you're doing is you're getting in the habit of starting the beginning of, starting something and finishing something. The hermit, man. See, this fella here, he's not like, if you looked at the sun card, and I'll see if I can find that one. If you got a sun card there, bust out a sun card, guys. Sun card is number 19. And if you have a look at the sun card, it offers a nice contrast. So one of the cool things about learning tarot is that there's lots of ways you can sort of contrast to new horizons of uncanny intelligence against evil. I love that, brother. That's right. I'm trying to get creative here. I am getting creative with it. Check out these two fellows here. So we've got the sun and the hermit. So in this card here, I'll get my hands right the wrong way. This is you blinded by all the shiny things that are out there, that the corporates and the distraction generators and disseminators put on show, put on display, put on billboards, put on buses, put on the supermarket shelves, put on bus stops, put on just on people's, just everywhere, on your damn phone. When you walk in the door, somehow it's sitting on the bench or it's in the letterbox. This is all of that noise. I'm not saying this is a negative card, but I'm using this as a, look at it. It's a bright, big thing. It's like, yay, lots going on. This is the solitude man, the solitude person. They have brought the light down into a manageable form in a way that other people can see and can be led or guided by someone who has learned to move themselves, move their awareness into a space where there is much less noise. He has the information. He has what he needs. He is now going off to work with what he has. This is a getting to know your enemy. This is about the study, the great work of gathering knowledge. It's pretty straightforward, isn't it? Let's do one for the actual adversary. Oh, Hey, just tell me if I need to pep things up a bit here. Actually, don't tell me how to do my damn show. Maybe I should put in a swear word every so often, like fuck or shit or something like that. Would that spice things up a bit? I heard a joke the other day that's pretty bad. You guys want to hear a bad joke? I'm just joking. Trying to keep it clean here. This is an adult show, though. It's nice to be able to talk like adults. All right, guys. So I'm going to pull a card out for the adversary here. Okay, here we go. This is for the adversary, not for the portrait, but the adversary. Okay, so this is the Three of Wands. This card points at things that we have that can help us get across the distance that we need to move. And so if we're looking at this from the adversary's point of view, we could say that they have what they need and they are looking at the long game. If you can see that person is standing on top of a hill, looking out over the water that's in front of him, over at other islands. So he's standing on top of a mountain almost, or a hill, looking out over an expanse of water to another expanse of land. They probably just do it with better clothes. You know, from our own perspective, looking at the adversary, it's almost like we're staring at each other across a giant chasm. And we're trying to rouse the army of consciousness. This way we're operating is not rational anymore. It might have had some rationality to it to start with, but all that's happening now is we are seeing the regular unfoldment of new violence, or the threat of violence against us for not doing what we're told. Now, what happens when we go, right, fuck yous all, we're going to do what we want? Which is, you know, not be dicks, but be good moral people. Get out there, start turning this place back start getting this place to being the garden. Cut out all the scumbaggery that goes on around the planet and go, oh, you can't do that. You're not going to do that because that hurts people and hurts people. Start with people. We'll start with people. Some people want to start with animals. We should start with animals too. You should be bloody kind to all living things. Why not? I'm not telling you how to live your life. If you want to eat animals, you go eat animals. Personally, I want to evolve. I think the human body is designed to evolve past the need for eating animal products or using animal products. I think that's it was maybe a necessary part of human evolution, of the evolution of this body. But I think we are actually quite capable of living, and when we move to this, we're moving away from the need for dense foods, and we are building the light body within us, the diamond body. Okay. Alrighty, guys. Okay, so we're coming up to a couple of hours shortly. I'll probably wrap it up in the next 10-15 minutes. This has been really relaxed and organic. I actually organized a bunch of other stuff. I was even going to have a camera set up so that you guys could look down at the cards rather than me have to hold them up and then move them around. I might do that next time once I can get it all set up. I'm just playing around with technology. But yeah, I think, when somebody hits you up, if you're worried about going out and being asked about wearing a mask, like, where's your mask? Or why are you not wearing a mask? I mean, you could come back with something like, because I don't believe in religion. Yeah. Or you could quite forthrightly say, look, I've been looking at this thing. This is a highly disproportionate response. That's going to cause a lot of problems. And we're not even going to be able to see those problems until a little way down the track. Evolution becomes revolution. Interesting. Nice. Okay, I'm going to have to chew. I'll have a chew on that one. Evolution becomes revolution. We need, in my view, an evolution of consciousness that's only going to happen through recognizing the divine nature in all things. Oh, that's a big job, isn't it? Hey, everyone. Divine nature everywhere. Yay, magic. Yay. Yeah, another religion, another cult, another this, another that. What do you guys reckon? You know, how are you going to talk to people? Do you want to? Do you want to put yourself in the position where you have to? I'm feeling the urge. I'm feeling the fire under my ass. You start talking. That's why I'm doing this thing tonight. I just felt really motivated to do this. Anyway, I'm going to give you the rest of this exercise. You take your shoes off. You go stand out on the lawn. You don't care what people think. You wear appropriate clothing to keep your legs, arms, and bodies warm. I would suggest not wearing any jewelry or anything like on your head like a hat. You could do it when it's raining if you want, but I would say just, and it's okay if the ground is a little bit cold. You'll find that your feet and the ground will warm up, and there'll be the temperature of the earth will change. It will adapt to you. It'll probably take about a minute. It's good to do it in the morning, in the afternoon, and at night. Pick one of those things. First thing in the morning is really great. After you come back from your astral adventures, you can ground yourself. You want to stand out there. You want to put your feet a shoulder widths apart. Relax down, bend your knees, bring your hands up. You want to have about a tennis ball between your arms and your body, so your hands are out in front. Don't lean them up against yourself like that. Hold your arms out. Just bring your hands together and just breathe. Through the nose, all through the nose. Nothing but nose, guys, all the way with the nose. Spend some time in that space. And when you're finished, you can drop your hands down. Once you've had your hands up long enough, put them down. Rest. Learn to rest standing up in this place. You might want to put your hands down flat on your lap when you're standing up. That might be more comfortable than having them hanging at your sides. And then finish it. Start building a pattern in your life of moving from the profane into the sacred. If you're going to sit down and do some study, try it out then. Get yourself in the zone. Just a few breaths can switch your consciousness around to be more receptive to information, to be able to absorb more. If you spend a lot of time learning and taking in information, I think it's also important, and I would recommend this as a Reiki practitioner, that you spend focused time on not learning and being exposed to information, which is you sitting in meditation and focusing on your breath. And there's many ways to do that. And Reiki is surprisingly wide when it comes to exercises for meditations, and it can incorporate other teachings too. It's a very flexible system. It's good to pick a system and work with it, guys, something very simple, and do it well, as in do it regularly, and and a little bit here and there is good, man. It's like guitar lessons. If you're practicing guitar, a little bit of practice here and a little bit of practice there, rather than one big one every so often. Get it happening regularly. Get it in your diet. That muscle will get stretched. And that mystical walk muscle, we want to stretch it this way. We want to stretch it this way, locating awareness into different parts of our body. We want to stretch it this way, meditation, focusing, learning how to space the mind out, spread your awareness into a large area. Stretch it this way, learn to meditate and focus on a point or a concept, so you can load that and incubate that for something you want information from. You want to load up a dream intent. You want to set an astral projection intention. You want to set some kind of intention. You want to stretch it this way, eating the right foods, drinking the right fluids, looking after your body, keeping your energy, the energy that you can generate with your physical movements. Stay fit and healthy, guys, and eat well. You can stretch. We're still talking about the mystery walk muscle here. Stretch it this way. Do some art, just random scribbling stuff. Just do that. Trust me. Just trust me on that. Listen to a podcast like that's like an audio one, and just doodle. Do that, and do it with both hands, left and right. Then we can stretch it this way. Get out a deck of cards. Get a piece of paper. Write down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, whatever you want, down to 10, 20, 30. And then just shuffle the cards, and then just guess them, and then shuffle the cards, shuffle the cards, shuffle the cards, and then just flick them out and go, how close were you? And do that a bunch of times. The trick is, though, if you do those ones, you want to keep at them because you want to monitor the changes. Because you might find at certain times of the day and at certain times of the month, yes, you might notice fluctuations. You can stretch the muscle this way. Qigong. And you guys haven't looked up Qigong? Man, you want to get a Qigong practice going on. That will change your life. Stretch it this way. Get into dream work. Record your dreams. Set intentions to have dreams. There's lots of ways of stretching this muscle, and they complement each other. Some of the stretches overlap other stretches. And so when you stretch this muscle, you're inadvertently also stretching the muscle this way, so to speak. I hope you guys have enjoyed tonight. It's been a real blast for me. I'm very grateful for you all. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's it, brother. Building a creative psychic space. I love that. Thank you, Don. Beautiful. Thank you, brother. I like that. Some really cool drops today, Don. Thank you for joining in with us. So yeah, I just want to say a big thank you to everyone. And like I said, I'll just throw this up again, holding the hat out. If you want to support me, send me an email. Say, awesome, thanks, Phil. You want to make a donation, there's the PayPal details right there. Thank you so much. And yeah, I think I'm going to start refining something like this that I might do regularly, maybe on a Friday night. We'll find some other people that maybe want to jump in. It'd be cool maybe if, we can get some people just to come in and talk about things. But I think that talking about current events right now is important. And one of those things is that, don't be afraid to speak out about the, how you feel about this lockdown, and just ask people and say, hey, look, does this make sense anymore? Is this just completely blown out of proportion? Is this overcare? Think about the words that you want to use. I mean, you're trying to share information here. We don't, there's some words that set people off. You know those words. Thank you, everyone. You're so beautiful and wonderful. I'm so lucky to have such good quality people in my life. We've got to go out there and do stuff, guys. You guys have an awesome night. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you, man. Gino, thank you, Gino. Thank you, Julia. And thank you, Don. And I think there's a mystery third person in here. That might actually be me on my, I think if I get rid of that, let's see if that changes it. Thank you so much, guys. It's been a real blast. I'm going to do this again, and we're going to bring a bit more. Maybe I'll get to crack some jokes and bust the guitar out or something like that. A bit of a variety show of sorts, or maybe we'll make it more pertinent to the topics. You guys have a great evening. I'll see you all later.